During the next stage of the role play, I'll be looking at the candidate's personal achievements. I want the candidate to sort of demonstrate to me how effective they would be at presenting themselves at interview. And one of the best ways of doing that is by asking questions which are slightly different to your traditional interview. I'll be asking them to list down one of their key achievements to date, finding out why they've actually chosen that achievement. This is something I can use either when I'm presenting them to the client for the actual role itself, or it's something I can use in a mailer if I want to actually promote them as a candidate. The final thing I want to do is I want to actually sort of also ask them what they see as being their strengths and also their weaknesses. It's really important that you ask candidates these sort of questions because there's every chance the client might ask them, and it's really useful to find out what they're like when they're put on the spot. During this third stage, I want to find out the following. Firstly, how effective is Richard in presenting himself? What does he perceive to be his biggest achievement to date? And finally, what does he think are his key strengths and key weaknesses? Thanks for that, Richard. To date, what's been your biggest achievement?
I won the Hilton account where I am now, working for Oils Limited.
Okay, talk me through that. How did you go about winning that?
Well, we've trained with other account managers trade with other hotel groups. We weren't trading with Hilton. It was part of my remit to go and look for other key accounts and national accounts that we could develop. So I made an approach to them. I cold called them originally. I spoke to the final, it takes a bit of doing, but spoke to the buyer and said, hi, I'm Richard from Oils, and where do you buy your oils from? So she told me where she was buying them from. I talked to her about what criteria would need to apply for her to change, and suggested that I could meet some of those criteria, and so we set up a preliminary meeting.
Okay, and what sort of things did you change for them?
It was price is obviously a factor, so price came into it, but they were also looking for a better quality of delivery. The company that we were at before, they'd missed a few deliveries that they were supposed to have got into them, which had quite a big effect, as I'm sure you can imagine. And there were some complaints of quality. You don't know whether that's subjective or not, because I think when you tune out of a relationship, you find fault with it. But they were saying that there were some quality issues as well, so we were able to improve on all that.
Okay. With regard to that Hilton account as well, obviously you took it from zero to, what was it turning over for the organisation by the time, I know what's it turning over now actually?
It's about $750,000 is that account.
Okay, and how long have you had it?
About a year and a bit.
Okay, and how long did it take to win it?
6 months, probably start to finish. Difficult to say, but approximately 6 months.
Okay, that's very good. If you analysed yourself, what would you say your biggest strengths were?
I'm quite tenacious. I've got a bit of a never say die attitude, and I'm quite mouthy, quite gobby, if you like. My friends would tell you that was the case. So I bring that sort of personality into the sales role as well.
Okay, no problem. Anything else?
I have a glass half full approach to life. It can be a negative as well, but it can also be a positive.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, and if there was an area you'd want to improve about yourself, what would it be?
It's probably that introduce a bit of realism to things sometimes, where so imagine the worst is going to happen, whereas I always seem to imagine the best is going to happen. So it makes my forecasting a bit interesting sometimes.
You forecast things that aren't going to happen?
Yeah, I think you always think things are going to come off, and they perhaps don't.
Oh, I think as a salesperson, you've got to always be an optimist at all times anyway.
I think it helps, but I think sometimes it's nice to bring some realistic approach as well.
Okay. Well, as an optimistic salesperson, why would a company choose to recruit you over and above others?
I think it would depend on the industry. I think if it's food service, because that would be the biggest drag, biggest appeal. So, because of the length of time that I've spent in that industry, I've spent 12, 13 years in it now, so I've built up quite a good contact book and come across most scenarios. I've also got an experience of selling product, experience of selling wholesale, so I understand the wheels market, and I've got some experience across a range of end users, so from pubs to clubs to hotels to restaurants, from independent to national, so they're getting a depth and breadth of knowledge that they perhaps wouldn't get elsewhere.
Okay, if it was outside the food service sector, why would someone want to recruit you then?
I think they'd have to be looking for transferable skills there, so they're either looking at my sales ability, so they're looking for somebody who's vivacious, driven, energetic, got a good new business track record, wants to do new business, because not many in today's market do. And somebody that's quick to learn, because they want somebody who could pick up a product that they previously didn't know anything about.
Okay. When you have spare time, Richard, which none of us have enough of, what do you like to do with it?
I've got a dog, so that takes up a lot of time.
Oh, what dog have you got?
Walking the dog, it's a miniature schnauzer.
Okay.
So walking and exercising him takes up some time. I play golf, not very well, but I play.
Do you have a handicap, or is it still the clubs and
the club,
course?
yeah, exactly that. Clubs, course, shoes, arms, and I do a bit of boxing. Well, it's more boxercise really.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually get in the ring yourself?
No, I do fancy it, but I don't want to get smacked in the mush.
No, it's always put me off, actually, to be fair. I think it's the following day going to work with a black eye.
Yeah, that's some explaining to do.
Appeal the least.
Yeah, no, I can empathise there.
Okay, fantastic.
So what was I able to find out from that third stage? Firstly, Richard presented himself very well indeed during this stage. He was able to quickly and effectively answer the questions that I raised to him. He focused on one key achievement which could really help me present him to a client in the future. This key achievement was the account win with Hilton. He identified his key strength as being tenacity and a positive outlook to things, and the fact that he does also communicate a lot. His area of weakness is at times he can be too optimistic, something to bear in mind when taking interview feedback in the future.